and today I'm going to be doing a video that I've been procrastinating for a very long time, but better late than never. And honestly, I needed to wait a long time because I wanted to be able to show you guys like the full healing process and effects and everything that happened, because especially when it comes to surgery, it's not just, oh, okay, this is what happened that day, the next day we're good. It's months of side effects and different things that you did not predict would happen. That happened, that's for sure. And so yeah, I wanted to wait a long time. It has been almost 2 years since I got Lasik eye surgery. My 2-year anniversary is actually coming up like tomorrow, which is insane to even think about. And this was probably one of the most life-changing things ever for me, but it would be remiss of me not to bring up something that happened just recently. I don't know if you guys have heard in the news that a Detroit meteorologist actually killed herself after getting Lasik eye surgery and having complications. And here's the thing, like, you never want to say for suicide that this is why someone did it. It is so complicated. There are so many reasons, you know, there's depression and mental illness and all of that, but it is true that she got Lasik eye surgery and she had a lot of complications. I was just reading an article with her mother, and actually one of the last videos, or the last video she posted to Facebook, was her telling her audience that she was having difficulties after her Lasik eye surgery, and I was asking for prayers. And hearing that, like, after knowing that I did it and that similar things could have happened to me, I mean, I was reading in the mother's interview, she was saying, actually, I don't want to misquote her. It was affecting her sleep, she lost weight, you never expect it to get this bad, and it can have other implications, including on the optic nerve. It can cause some brain trauma. So listen, I'm not going into deep research about if this is true or if this is not. This is what her mother said, and you know, with any surgery you have, especially elective surgery, there are going to be consequences. And when you choose something that you didn't need, so if you need like a kidney transplant or a surgery on your gallbladder, your lungs, brain, you know, something that if you don't get it, you'll die. Okay, that's one thing. If you have complications from it, that's still terrible. But the problem with elective surgery is it's such a risk because you don't need it. So I had very, very bad vision to the point where I was legally blind without glasses on. Like, I can't just, when I tell people like I could not see, like, you know, the big E at the doctor's office, that wasn't there for me. It was, so if the E is in black, it was all just still white for me. So I wanted, you know, to just not have to deal with that ever again. I got to a point where I wasn't able to wear contact lenses anymore just because my eyes weren't reacting well. I just have a very sensitive body to begin with literally everything. And my eyes kind of just, it was just a terrible time where for a couple of years, I was just struggling with having red eyes. Contact lenses weren't working. It was just a really bad thing. But I was scared with Lasik eye surgery. I mean, you don't want to take this huge risk. Someone's cutting open your eyes. What if you go blind? I mean, that's obviously the biggest thing you think of. One wrong move and gosh, it's scary. And I won't go into that much detail about my operation because I do have a separate video on that, but basically I thought long and hard about whether or not I wanted to do Lasik. I did so much research, too much research, because I scared myself a lot with horror stories, and I decided I wanted to take the risks because I just was so unhappy with my current eye situation. I booked my appointment, went in there. I don't think I've ever been so nervous for something because you obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but you have to be awake for it. And I guess my doctor's dealt with patients freaking out before because he kept insisting, you have to take Valium, you have to. You might think, oh, I'm not gonna take it, but take it. But the thing with me is I'm more scared of drugs, which sounds really dumb, but whatever. Hugs, not drugs. I was getting anxiety beforehand about having to take the drugs and how they would affect my body. And I realized, Clancy, you're more scared for the drugs, just don't do the drugs. So I went into the operation sober, like there was no like laughing gas or like anything like that, like it was just me. And you just sit there and you open your eyes and listen, guys, it is the quickest thing ever. You have to open them though, they put the numbing drops in and you see it all happening, you hear it, you kind of smell the burning flesh, and it is painless though, okay? You're numb. The problem is when the numbing drops were off, because yes, that is what happened when I got home. The numbing drops were off, and that is when it feels like you have a million little pins and prickles in your eyes and you're just screaming. I didn't scream, but I remember I was just like, Mom, I need Tylenol. And here's the thing, when I woke up, I had heard wonderful stories of people who had 20/20 vision right away, and oh my gosh, but that was not the case for me. My right eye, I could not really see much at all. My left eye kind of, and it was terrifying. I mean, to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, all of this, you wasted all this money in this surgery didn't even work, which the doctor warned me about because I had such bad vision. And so that was definitely not ideal. And then I went to bed that night and was like, hopefully when I wake up, I'll have perfect vision. No, I didn't have perfect vision. And I don't have perfect vision now, by the way. It's not 2020 at all. I can see everything. I mean, it's incredible when I think about it. Like, I can see everything. I can read this and that, and oh my gosh, yeah. It is probably one of the most, like, emotional things I've ever went through, like, where if I think about it too long, I could probably cry. But people with LASIK have a lot of different experiences, and mine fell somewhere in the middle. Some people have horror stories. Some people have easiest, best thing ever. And I'm in the middle because I did go through a couple of months of, I don't want to say the word torture, but it was not easy. During the entire time though, not once did I regret my surgery. So that shows you something. And if you're thinking about getting it, no, it is not that painful or bad. When I tell you like, oh my gosh, I woke up, when I went to bed, when the numbing drops were off, I had like a million pricks in my eyes. Listen, I just went right to bed and then I woke up and it was a little bit better. Prying your eyes open and having to put the eye drops in was a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough, but it's all worth it to me. And so I remember I just started my internship that following week. Good timing, I know. And the dryness. So one of the side effects of LASIK, which is why if you have very dry eyes, you're not really a candidate. And I was actually put on these specific drops leading up to my surgery to make my eyes more like, I don't know if moist is the word, but not as dry, just because that was something they were concerned about with me. And it was painful. I remember being at my internship and at certain points like feeling like I couldn't keep my eyes open. I'd heard like, okay, dryness is a side effect. And you think like, oh, dryness, whatever. I want perfect vision. Dryness is fine. But you don't envision what dryness feels like on your eyes. It felt like you can't open them. When you close them, it just like hurts. And it's like nothing is lubricating. Like imagine nothing lubricating your eyes to close them. You don't realize you have all these tears in your eyes that are lubricating them every single time you blink. You don't realize it because you don't feel it, which is a good thing. When you feel it, that's when it's not a good thing. And when you feel it is when you don't have enough lubrication in your eyes. I ended up having to book. I booked an entirely, like just an appointment out of nowhere, just going into the doctor, being like, hi, my eyes feel like they're dying. What do I do? And he told me, listen, Clancy, like you happen to book this appointment at the worst time of the year where everyone's eyes are dry. Winter is a very bad time on the eyes. You have the cold air mixed with your blasting heat. Me, I'm the king of heat. And that was a pretty sad feeling going to the doctor and him telling me there's no solution. But I didn't regret it still. I didn't because I knew if I just kept on the process where I had these special drops, and I actually didn't stop using them until a year and a half ago. So I guess I used them for about 6 months then after surgery. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I don't think I need these anymore. And it was the best feeling ever. If you are thinking about getting LASIK, you kind of do have to weigh your pros and cons and your individual scenario. Find a good doctor. You don't want a doctor who's just going to operate on anyone. If you're really not a candidate, it's not worth it. Listen, would you rather have bad vision and an annoying contact glasses situation or be blind? You know, it's a no-brainer. You want a doctor who will say, no, I'm not operating on you because I don't think it'll be successful. I don't think it'll work for you. Because obviously these doctors are getting a lot of money for every single patient. Thousands. Oh my gosh, thousands. I want to say a lot of people ask the cost. I don't want to like misquote it, but somewhere around 4,000 feels like an accurate number, like 4,500-ish maybe. That includes everything, drops, surgery, no, there was no anesthesia, thank God. I feel like that's expensive. But I want to say it's that much, and I don't think insurance covers it at all because it is an elective surgery. It's purely, I don't need it. I'm not going to die if I don't have it. And you do want to find a good doctor though. Don't go for discounts. I would rather spend, I don't mean to say this like because I know not everyone has the money, but I'm just saying I would rather spend double what I spent and have a good outcome than spend, $1,000 I got a Groupon and then it doesn't work. Like, and something's wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like, this is not something where you go for sales on. This is not something you skimp on at all. And if you're sitting here and you've had bad vision your entire life and you want LASIK, I sound like a spokesperson. I swear I'm not getting paid. Gosh, look into it because for the longest time, one weird fun fact about myself, my eyes have always been the least favorite part about me, which is just weird. No one like has ever given me an insult on my eyes before, but when I was little, I used to think like big brown eyes were the most beautiful things ever, and I don't have brown eyes, as you could probably tell. And then when I got older, my eyes were red every single freaking second because of contact lenses. Funny enough, I did not plan this, but so this year propped up right now my makeup storage box container thing. Sticking right out of it at the front and center is Visine, which my days used to consist of, oh my gosh, I have to put in Visine, my eyes can't be red, and then, oh my gosh, so the thing is, Visine makes your eyes really dry, but my eyes are so dry, let me get my eye drops, and oh my gosh, and this and that, and it was so bad. And so like now, finally, like I just don't even think twice about my eyes. Like I used to be so self-conscious of them, and now, oh my gosh, they're just another part of my body that I don't even think about, which is amazing. So you might be wondering where I am now today with my dryness, and totally, it just went away. I don't even think about it. I use those like eye drops, you know, like the lubricating eye drops, maybe once or twice a week. I'll just notice it, especially really the only time I'll notice it is if I'm trying to stay up late and I get tired, that's when my eyes get dry. So I'll just pop in an eye drop or two and it's a-okay. If you're thinking about getting LASIK and you're worried about the pain, that's not even a worry at all. It really wasn't that painful. You did have that experience of, okay, when the numbing drops were off and you were like, it's painful, but it's such a short amount of pain for a long-lasting result. And I'm staring at my Urban Decay all-nighter. Long-lasting. Right, that got me that word. And the biggest way to know that I would recommend it is, yes, I would do it again. So going into the first time, I'm nervous about the procedure. Am I gonna be in the most pain ever? Am I gonna feel them slice my eyes? Going into the second time, that wouldn't be my worry. It would just always be the unknown of, you know, you want it to work and you don't want to be blind. Oh, and for girls who are worried about, oh my gosh, how long can I start wearing makeup after LASIK? I started wearing regular like face makeup a week after surgery. I started wearing eye makeup about 2 weeks after surgery. I want to say somewhere around there. I didn't have to wait long at all. And when I did start wearing it, I just didn't go crazy with it. I'd heard a horror story of someone like slicing their eye open while I don't even know what that was a scary story they told me. Oh, and one thing I do want to say, a long lasting effect is that at nighttime, it can be a little bit more difficult to see. This is not a big deal at all. I'd heard this before and I was like, oh my gosh, what do they mean? And I'll never forget when I first went out after LASIK, it was like crazy. So what happens is, okay, so like even you see these lights behind me? Well, what LASIK does at nighttime is there's like a little like glow around each and every light. So if the light is this small, you kind of see this amount of light, which can be a little bit not ideal at nighttime when you have headlights and all of that. Driving at night isn't my favorite, but it's totally doable and it's not a big effect at all. I don't even notice it. You get used to it real quick, but it's funny. I remember like right after I got it done, obviously it was Christmas time because like I said I got it done right around this time, and seeing when we were driving and seeing all of like the lights, and I was so overwhelmed and thinking, is this going to be my life forever? And no, it completely got better, and right now it's just something I'm completely used to. Another thing I got used to was the fact that my right eye and my left eye are two different prescriptions. My left eye wasn't as bad as my right eye, and so my right eye is currently worse. And I can see it right now, but I'm not used to seeing two different prescriptions because when I have my glasses on, they're both corrected to be 20/20, you know what I mean? So when I first had to deal with two different prescriptions that I'm just seeing in normal life, it was like nauseating at first. I remember one of my favorite things to do is read. I couldn't even like read a book and I was freaking out. Am I never gonna be able to read again? I remember I was trying to justify it. I was like, okay, that's fine. I can just audiobooks. But your brain is very smart. Is that, yeah, brains can be smart, okay. And it corrects for you. Like it just, you get used to it. Oh, okay, so like right now I don't notice that I don't see the same in both eyes. They're just adjusting to each other, which is really, really cool. And for those wondering if the results are permanent, and the answer is technically no. I mean, you are basically just kind of given a clean slate. Like, hey, nice eyes, but it doesn't stop the aging process of when we get older, you are going to naturally deteriorate in the eyesight. I think it's the opposite of whatever it is I have, where it's harder to like read, why people need like reading glasses. But I do want you guys to weigh your pros and cons and the risks. Hearing about that, the Detroit meteorologist, I can't even begin to tell you how upset that made me. And so I just ask that you guys keep her and her family in her thoughts and prayers. Oh my gosh, I mean, she was beautiful. She was beautiful, and I'm pretty sure she had a husband and 2 children. And it's just a reminder that you never know what someone else is going through. Be nice to everyone, and I mean, I don't have to preach to you guys know, but it's so important. You just never know. On the outside, it probably looked like she had it all, but she obviously didn't. Something was very wrong. So definitely just want to keep her in our thoughts and her family as they go through this time. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions about LASIK or, you know, going through the process, feel free to message me on, I feel like, I guess, Instagram. I might be most responsive. You can follow me on there and on Facebook and Twitter. All the links will be down below, but I hope you guys have a nice day, and I will talk to you guys later.